Close to each other as they come round through Paddock Hill Bend, and somehow Guimarães, the Brazilian driver, has managed to keep at bay the Italian, who's looking to try and go round the outside at Druid's Corner. That would give him the inside for Graham Hill Bend. Will Buller, though, has managed to sneak through and mug both of them. Guimarães under pressure from Will Buller. Here comes Giovinazzi up the inside. There's contact between Giovinazzi and Will Buller. You can see the damage to the front right-hand corner of Antonio Giovinazzi's car, and well, for Will Buller, he was also involved in that. Let's see whether he's come away unscathed. Have a quick look at the replay as well, and you can see that Antonio Giovinazzi tries to come around the outside of Felipe Guimarães as they turn their way round through Druid's Corner. Will Buller is able to therefore sneak his way through, and as they then head onto the brakes at Graham Hill Bend, there's the contact. Antonio Giovinazzi making contact with the tail end of Will Buller and putting himself out of the race. No such worries for our leader though, Jasmine Jafar, Jordan King or Nicholas Latifi, as they all sit there in first, second and third positions respectively, right on board on the car that sits there in second position. Round through the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend they go. You can see Jordan King glancing across to the retired car of Antonio Giovinazzi, and there's dust which would indicate that somebody else is off in the gravel as well, and that looks as though it is the car of Sun Zheng, who was a front runner in the national class, that's deposited his car in the gravel trap straight on at Druids. So a quick look at the replay. Well, Ed Jones and Sun Zheng make brief contact. Sun Zheng flies into the air, very thankful that the car wasn't inverted, and for Ed Jones, he, I think, was able to continue in the race. So the Chinese driver looks on, whilst his car is winched away, and as he's looking on, into the pit lane comes Will Buller. Clearly there has been a problem with that rear tyre. The contact was made on that corner by Antonio Giovinazzi. Tech Motorsport boys are going to work putting a fresh Cooper tyre on the rear corner. Well, Ed Jones got away with that incident with Sun Zheng, and this is now the battle for second in the national class, with Cameron Twynham trying to go around the outside of the Kiwi Chris Flock as they turn their way in towards the right-hander. They've also got Will Buller looking to try and rescue something from this weekend, albeit he's a lap adrift. Here's the fight for fourth and fifth position. Jan Mardenborough still on the coattails of Felipe Guimarães. And this weekend we've also been able to remember Jeremy Lord, the former Formula 3 Association chairman, who recently passed away. A beautifully observed 1 minute silence was held before the race. Jan Mardenborough has not as yet given up aspirations on fourth position. He is still beginning to close in all of the time onto the back end of the Brazilian ahead of him, and you can see that he's pushing very hard here, Jan Mardenborough. Round through the back section of the circuit, up towards Sheen Curve they'll come, and Jan Mardenborough makes a mistake all through the gravel trap, not for the first time this weekend. There has gone right into the distance the car he was trying to hunt down, Felipe Guimarães. And for Jan Mardenborough, well, he hasn't lost any positions, but he has lost a raft of time. It certainly looks as though losing time Jasmine Jafar has done through the back markers, because Jordan King, his teammate, is now very close towards the gearbox of that car and is looking as though he might try and mount a challenge for the lead. Moving neatly out of the way through the back markers they go as we ride on board with Li Zikong. And as they head now through the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend, you can see that already disappearing into the distance go the lead two cars, having lapped some of the slower traffic. Now, of course, they've got clear track ahead of them. They'll be able to push on once more as they head out of Surtees Corner and up towards Pilgrim's Drop. You can see just how far the circuit dives away as they come downhill and then in towards the sweeping right-hander at Hawthorne's Bend. There goes the car that's just been dispatched a lap down. And the race leaders still with number 2, Jordan King, trying to hunt down his teammate this weekend. Having gained time through the back markers, it now looks as though the Malaysian driver, Jasmine Jafar, is starting to pull away again a little bit more, because the amount of daylight visually to the eye looks to have increased this time as they head out of Surtees Corner. And for Jasmine Jafar, who's returning to the British Formula 3 International Series this weekend purely to gain entry so that he can compete in the Macau Formula 3 Grand Prix later on in the season, it looks as though it's been a solid weekend's work so far. Here comes still this fight for fourth and fifth position. Jan Mardenborough still trying to hound Felipe Guimarães ahead of him. So two of them head up towards Clearways Corner this time. There goes car number 23, the Brazilian driver, still keeping at bay the British driver in his first season of single-seaters that sits directly behind him, but as yet has not been able to squeeze his way through and past. Here they go again out of Paddock Hill Bend and start to climb the hill up towards Druid's Corner, and Jan Mardenborough just shows the nose of his Dallara up the inside of Felipe Guimarães. The door is closed, however, by the Brazilian. And they now turn their way in towards the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend. There goes Chris Flock, who's looking destined for another podium in the national class. But here, coming in towards Clearway's corner for the final time, it's been a great returning weekend to the British Formula 3 International Series by Jasmin Jafar. He comes through and claims his second win of the weekend. His teammate comes home in second position, and for Jordan King, that should secure the championship lead. So confirmation of the results. It's a second national class win of the weekend for Ed Jones and Team Westtech. And it's been a very successful return to British Formula 3 for the young Malaysian Jasmin Jafar.
I'm just speechless, really. It's a fantastic weekend. It was tough because Jordan was quite quick in the race, which I was quite surprised about, but we brought it home.
Absolutely, mate. You must have loved being back in British Formula 3.
Definitely. I mean, the racing's good, the track's awesome, and I mean, the atmosphere is great, so I really enjoy racing here.
Well, you found it up here again. Well done.
Yeah, no, it was another great race. Quite difficult again. I made a mistake off the line, and that cost me, I think, 3 positions. And so it was a bit of hard work moving back to the front. And once I got to the front, I actually had a collision with Zheng. He went over the top of me, and then I had to make my way back forward through. But in the end, we ended up first, and that's all that matters. So great team effort, and thanks to the team for the 2 wins today.
So Sun Zheng maintains his lead at the top of the championship table for the national class. And for the overall championship, well, Jordan King now sits pretty at the top. Will Buller has dropped down into second place.
Well, it's lovely to see Jasmin Jafar making a winning return in his cameo appearance here in British Formula 3, but the real credit has to go to Jordan King, who's had an excellent weekend here at Brands Hatch and is now sitting at the top of the championship, which means, of course, there's everything to race for in the season finale at the Nürburgring.